Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Frank Andrews, Marisa Burke, meteorologist Noreen Clark, and J. Christopher Sports. This is Newswatch 16 this morning.
Good morning, everyone. 28 and a half minutes before 7 a.m. and this is Newswatch 16 this morning. Today is Monday. It is the 16th of September. In a moment, we'll give you some of the details of that tentative contract that settled the strike at the General Dynamics plant in our area. But first, in case you're interested, it's the last full week of summer. Here's meteorologist Noreen Clark with some details of today's Weather Watch forecast. Good morning, Noreen.
Hi, Frank. Top of the morning, everyone. It is a cool start this morning with 43 degrees right now in the backyard, and we have a sensational day ahead with blue skies, bright sunshine, and light winds. Afternoon highs in the low 70s. Find out how long the fair dry weather will last coming up with the backyard forecast.
All right. Thank you very much, Noreen. There is a tentative contract settlement for 5,000 employees of General Dynamics corporations this morning. General Dynamics has a plant in Einan. Now, the contract agreement came at 2:45 Sunday morning, a short time after picket lines were set up at the Einan plant and two others in Ohio and Michigan. Now, General Dynamics, by the way, is the nation's third largest defense contractor. Union officials say the tentative contract gives the 5,000 General Dynamics workers raises of 3% over each of the next 3 years. The plant in Einan makes tanks for the federal government. Pennsylvania state lawmakers go back to work this week after a summer vacation, and at the top of the agenda will be insurance reform and a law proposing some forms of gambling in state taverns. Now, the House and the Senate in Harrisburg don't actually go into official session until Wednesday, but this morning some committees will meet in Harrisburg to go over the bills that are being proposed for this session. Now, the state Senate is going to look over what's called the CAT Fund. That's the Catastrophic Loss Fund that was set up after no fault was voted out of Pennsylvania a couple of years ago. There's talk about reforming that CAT Fund, and also on bills to legalize some forms of gambling in Pennsylvania taverns. Well, Uncle Sam is planning to spend $4 million to find out if radon gas is posing a serious threat to your health. Now, you may remember a special series of reports on Newswatch 16 back in August called Radon, Home Sweet Hazard. At that time, we told you about the potential danger of radon gas in the home, and we told you where you can get some more information on dealing with the problem. Well, this morning, Newswatch 16's Dan Fiorucci has more on the federal government's plans for a national radon survey.
Radon gas breaks down from uranium in the soil. When this gas accumulates in a home, its radioactive byproducts can get into your lungs and cause cancer. You have the equivalent lung cancer risk of what in your home?
20 packs of cigarettes a day.
And you don't even smoke?
No, I do not smoke. I have never have smoked in my life.
Bob Green's house is contaminated with high levels of radon. So are at least 1,000 other homes measured by state authorities in southeastern Pennsylvania.
You should be receiving your detectors sometime early next week.
Here in northeastern Pennsylvania, where the state hasn't made measurements, Newswatch 16 and the U.S. Department of Energy placed 84 radon detectors in 42 homes in our viewing area. We found half the homes had radon readings higher than considered safe by state standards. If you had a house in our area, what would you be doing if you had a house where no measurements had yet been made and you had seen this data?
Well, knowing what I do and if I'd seen this data, I would like to get a measurement made in my house, if I'm in that part of the country.
People exposed to these average levels, you would expect some of them to develop lung cancer.
Yes, definitely. Calculated cancers from this sort of level would amount to a lifetime risk of about 2%.
Because no one really knows just how many radon hotspots there are across the country, the Environmental Protection Agency wants to conduct a $4 million nationwide radon survey over the next 3 years.
EPA has announced a fairly large-scale national survey.
On a special WNEP broadcast called Radon, EPA Radiation Officer Bill Bellinger said the survey won't measure every house. It will just identify potentially hot areas.
Well, our chances of measuring every house are just about zero.
My heavens, you'd have to triple your budget at least.
50 million, I think it's about 50 million houses in the U.S.
The radon survey plan must still be approved by Congress. The Senate is expected to vote on the matter this week. Dan Fiorucci, Newswatch 16.
State Police Fire Marshal will be at the old West Wyoming Elementary School this morning, helping investigators look for a cause to the blaze that gutted it. Flames hit the landmark building over the weekend. Officials in West Wyoming were planning to renovate the school and turn it into a community center before the weekend fire hit. Now, again, no one was heard battling the blaze at the West Wyoming school. Officials say the cause does not look suspicious right now. And still to come on Newswatch 16 this morning. It's the last week of summer, and we're off to a high and dry start. The details of today's Weather Watch forecast from the backyard when Newswatch 16 this morning returns. 23.5 before 7 a.m.
The 1986 new model sale is going on now at Farnsworth Camping Center in Elysburg, Pennsylvania. Farnsworth Camping Center has the largest selection of new and used motorhomes, travel trailers, and camping trailers in the Northeast United States. Fleetwood RVs are the best-selling vehicles nationwide. And during this 1986 new model sale, Farnsworth is selling all 1986 Fleetwoods at prices that cannot be repeated. Buy now and save at Farnsworth Camping Center, Route 54 in Elysburg, between Danville and Mount Carmel. Open daily 9 to 5 and Saturdays till noon.
Affordable housing, the final frontier. Wyoming Homes' ongoing mission to seek out alternative housing, to turn renters into buyers, to boldly do what no manufactured home dealer has done before. Wyoming Homes makes housing affordable for everyone. Wyoming Homes has modular homes and the biggest selection of mobile homes, all displayed in a beautifully landscaped setting. Wyoming Homes has 2 locations to serve you, Route 11 Exeter, Route 11 Bloomsburg.
Good morning, everyone. About 21.5 minutes before 7. Absolutely gorgeous weekend. I hope you're going to keep up the good work. Good morning, Norrie.
Yes, I am, Frank. Good morning, Frank. Morning, everyone. We have had some very pleasant weather, but it's been a little bit on the cool side. And this week, there is going to be a gradual change in the temperature department, and I think you're going to like that. Let's check our current readings from the backyard, and it is a cool start this morning, but not as cool as what we've had recently. 43 degrees, humidity high at 90%, but that will be dropping very nicely during the day. The wind is out of the east and light at 5 miles per hour, and their air pressure is extremely high, and it's holding steady. Today's sunrise occurred this morning, 6:45, and sunset is scheduled for 11 after 7 tonight. And Halley's Comet is speeding very rapidly toward the sun right now. It is visible using a 6-inch diameter telescope. Anything above 6 inches, of course, you can see this very nicely. And it is visible 2 hours before sunrise right now. The moon is in its new stage, actually coming out of its new stage, so it is possible to view it during the morning hours, about 4:45, 5 a.m. on towards sunrise, and it's just north of the constellation Orion. So you might get your first glimpse of Halley's Comet if you have a telescope. Later on, you'll be able to see it visually with the eye. As far as our temperatures this morning, well, they are a little bit warmer than what we've had for the last week, and it looks like they'll warm up gradually during the week. 43 here, 43 also in the Poconos and in Canton, but there is some fog over the valley areas to our north. Williamsport, 46. 46 Shamokin, also in Allentown, about 46 degrees. And out there in State College, 44 degrees. And this morning's satellite pictures shows some thunderstorms just to the southeast of Miami. And in fact, 600 miles to the southeast, pardon me, there is a tropical depression. And it looks like it could strengthen over the next few days, so we'll keep an eye on that because it is moving to the northwest at about 5 miles per hour, and it could affect the southeast coast. We're looking for a good deal of sunshine, but as the cold air moves out to the east, we're going to get into a return flow that makes it warmer gradually over the next few days, and that looks mighty nice. The rain out over the midsection of the country won't reach us, it looks like, for the rest of this week. So generally look for a high and dry week ahead under high pressure and dry conditions. As far as our forecast for today, it is going to be superb. It's looking very good. Visibilities you can see almost endlessly because of the great low humidity that we have and have had recently. Susquehanna, a high of 71, 73 in Wyoming. Tobyhanna, a high of 69 degrees. Buttonwood, 71, Sunbury, 74, and the winds will be light and variable. And here's my forecast. We'll have sunshine today. Tonight you'll be able to see the stars. Tomorrow, another very nice day under sunshine. Sunshine on Wednesday, and a sunny day also for Thursday, but you'll notice that it's a warm-up. So, Frank, could there be too much of a good thing coming up?
I don't think so. We'll take all the sunshine and these temperatures you can get. Thanks a lot, Noreen. Briefly, here are some of this morning's top national and international news headlines. The U.S. is denouncing the actions of Soviet troops in East Germany today. Now, the Pentagon says 2 U.S. Army men were detained for 9 hours at gunpoint last week after a truck was deliberately bumped by Soviet troops. There has been a mass resignation at the top level of the Chinese government. 64 senior officials of the Chinese Communist Party have resigned to make way for younger party members. Officials at the State Department call it the most sweeping transition since the Communist Party took over in Red China 36 years ago. And U.S. officials are still trying to confirm a claim that the Reverend Benjamin Weir has been freed by captors in Lebanon. Now, he's one of the 7 Americans kidnapped in Beirut almost a year ago. An anonymous call was made to the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon Saturday saying Weir was to be freed. Again, so far, no confirmation on the report. And in a moment, Newswatch 16 this morning continues with details of what Uncle Sam says is the most fuel-efficient car on the road today. Plus, Newswatch 16's Valerie Devine with a report on bike power and some ambitious kids in North Scranton finding a way to enjoy the sunny days. Newswatch 16 this morning continues in a moment, 17 before 7. We have a couple of notes on the economy this morning. The first one has to do with U.S. car sales. Officials say domestic auto sales for the first 2 weeks of September are up 57% over the same period last year. That's the best September sales record for the big 3 automakers in 3 decades. The Environmental Protection Agency says the Japanese have built the most fuel-efficient car on the road again, but this time for an American company. The EPA says the Chevy Sprint gets the best gas mileage of all the cars tested. 55 in the city, 60 on the highway. The worst cars for fuel efficiency, by the way, Rolls-Royce and Jaguar, some Mercedes-Benz models. That's according to the EPA report. In North Scranton, it's bike power that caught our cameraman's eye. A bunch of teenagers in one part of North Scranton chipped in money to build a bike ramp to do some pretty nifty tricks with bicycles and other kinds of wheeled objects. Here's Newswatch 16's Valerie Devine.
It's one of those things you might have to see to believe. Some leftover plywood converted into a homemade bike ramp. For these Scranton teenagers, it's something they built with their very own hands.
We had no place else to go, so we figured, we were talking about it for a while, and we said, let's build a ramp. So we got up some money, got the wood and everything, put it together. Here it is.
The ramp itself cost nearly $500. To pay for it, these kids each contributed about $30 apiece. But everyone here feels it was well worth the money.
It went to a good cause. We had really nothing else to do for the summer. Wouldn't have done nothing else.
You know, some people might argue that having a ramp like this is dangerous. In fact, some parents do. But many of the parents we talked to were just glad the kids found something to do.
Oh, I approve of it. It does make me nervous. I get really scared they're going to get hurt. But the boys are really pretty careful. And it keeps them out of trouble. They could be into worse things like drugs and drinking.
And even the big kids admit it's quite an attraction, especially when you consider these guys are amateurs. Valerie Devine, Newswatch 16, Scranton.
Tim Carlson's up next on Newswatch 16 this morning with the Sports Watch Week 2 of the NFL, plus a 4.5 game advantage for Toronto's Blue Jays after the series with New York. Sports Watch 16 is next. It's 11:30 before 7 a.m.
You must think about how you're going to heat your home this winter. Convenience. The Alaska Stoker stove can burn unattended for 3 days. Safety. The Stoker stove is protected by an outer cabinet. Convenience. It's totally automatic and thermostat controlled. Safety. It cannot overheat. You can find these features only on the Alaska Stoker stove. See one burning today at Alaska Company Outlet, Bloomsburg, PA.
Do you know that 80% of all dirt, dust, moisture in any building is brought in on people's footwear? Most of this can be stopped by having a fresh, clean entrance mat delivered to your door by Dempsey Textile Rental Service on a weekly basis. That's right, no hassle, no worries, no investment, no inventory. It's like having a professional cleaning service working for you 24 hours a day. Call Dempsey Textile Rental Service at 346-4668. Call collect to start stopping dirt today.
Morning, everyone. 9:30 before 7. Jay Christopher has the day off. Tim is here.
Good morning.
Talk about my Blue Jays.
Your Blue Jays. Somebody said to me yesterday, A team from Canada winning the World Series. What are you, a communist or something? Hey, look, I don't know.
They're a good team.
Just baseball, that's right. You know, I think Yankee fans and the rest of the baseball world found out something this weekend. The Toronto Blue Jays are a very good baseball team. The Jays took 3 of 4 from the Yanks, now 4.5 games up in the AL East. Yesterday, the Yanks were never in it. A 6-run third inning for Toronto. That's Rance Mulliniks at the plate. And the base hit will score Tony Fernandez, and all of a sudden it's 1-0 Toronto. It was 2-0 when Cliff Johnson brought 2 more home with the single, and that made it 4-0. Then watch this. Jesse Barfield with a hit down the line. Now, Rick Leach is going to score easily on this play, but Bobby Meacham on the relay throws it to the hot dog man in the stands here. Barfield will come home because of the throw into the stands, and it's 6-0 Jays. And the Jays play good defense, too. They've got 3 of the best outfielders as far as arms go in the American League. Dave Winfield with a base hit. Don Mattingly coming home. It's 6-0 now, right? He's out at the plate. It ends up 8-5. Let's go to the scoreboard now. AL, Toronto beat the Yankees 8-5. They're up by 4.5 with 20 games to play. Detroit over Baltimore 4-1. Boston beat Milwaukee 4-2. Oakland and KC split a pair, 4-2 for Oakland and then 7-2 for Kansas City. That means the Royals are up by 2.5 over the Angels, who beat Texas yesterday 12-4. Minnesota over Cleveland 5-2, and Chicago beat Seattle 6-3. No change in the National League East standings yesterday. Both the Mets and the Cardinals won, so New York stays just a half game back. The Mets beat Montreal in the first inning. Gary Carter at the plate. There's a base hit off the pitcher's leg, and that hurts. Mookie Wilson scores, and it's 1-0 Mets. Then Danny Heap adds to the Met magic this year. They've had guys like him come in and do the job. Home run number 7, a 3-run shot, and it's 4-zip. In the third, Howard Johnson with the solo homer made it 5-1, and the Mets beat the Spos 6-2 at Wrigley. A big day for Cesar Cedeno of the Cards. His single here knocks in Tommy Herr, and the Cards are up 1-0. Then it was homer time for Cesar, and it'll hit one of the cars on Sheffield Avenue behind Wrigley, and it's 4-1 to St. Louis, and that is a shot. One more RBI for Cesar. The double right here will do it in the Giants, or make that the Cards. I don't know where I got the Giants. Win it 5-1. National League scoreboard. Mets over Montreal 6-2. St. Louis beat the Cubs 5-1, so the Mets stay a half back. The Dodgers' magic number is 13. They lost, though, to Cincinnati 10-6. Pittsburgh over the Phillies 5-4. Atlanta over Frisco 4-1. And it was Houston over San Diego 2-1. Talk some football now, and a couple of teams bounced back while others got bounced in Week 2 of the NFL season. A look at some of the action from yesterday. First, the Cowboys lose to Detroit, and the Lions get cooking early. Eric Hipple looking for Jeff Chadwick finds him, and Detroit leads in this one. It was 26-0 before Dallas scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth, but the Lions hold on to win it 26-21. In Washington, the Skins had a scare from Houston. They made it 16-0, did the Skins. George Rogers comes out of the pack, makes a great second-effort run for the touchdown here. But the Oilers came close, only to have Tony Zendejas miss 2 field goals. The Skins hold on to win it 16-13. The Dolphins, Dan Marino back on his birthday, and he was looking pretty good. 2 TD passes. This one to Mark Clayton. Miami beats the Colts 30-13. In New England, the Bears held the Patriots to just 1 score. This one, a 90-yard TD pass. Tony Eason to Craig James. Chicago won that one, though, 20-7 as James goes in for the TD. The Giants lost to Green Bay. Eddie Lee Ivory scored with just over 4 minutes left. The Pack wins it 23-20. And the Super Bowl champs, San Francisco, scored 35 second-half points, 7 here on Roger Craig's 62-yard run, and the 49ers beat the Falcons 35-16. NFL Week 2 on the scoreboard here. Detroit over Dallas, 26-21. Washington over Houston. The Jets hammered Buffalo 42-3. Green Bay over the Giants, 23-20. St. Louis over Cincy, 41-27. Miami over Indy, 30-13. The Rams over the Eagles, 17-6. Chicago beat New England, 20-7. Minnesota over Tampa Bay, 31-16. Frisco over Atlanta, 35-16. Denver beat New Orleans, 35-23. Make it 34-23. Seattle over San Diego, 49-35. Tonight, 9 o'clock, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Fish and game forecast, and here it is. 3 o'clock a.m., that's gone, I guess, right? 3:30 this afternoon, not a bad time to travel.
They're cleaning those fish from 3 o'clock.
That's right, you got it. I hope I can have some.
Good to have you here. Newswatch 16 this morning continues in a moment. We'll have more on our top stories and a recap of the Weather Watch forecast. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. It's 5 before 7.
It's the big event of the year, the 4th Annual Wilkes-Barre Business Show at the Sheraton Crossgate, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. You'll see the latest in office automation like the Royal 5003 ZMR copying system, televideo multi-user and network computers, plus many more state-of-the-art products of tomorrow in use today. The biggest names in the business will be there. Royal, Sanyo, Televideo, Sharp, and much more. The 4th Annual Wilkes-Barre Business Show, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. The Sheraton Crossgates, sponsored by American Office Systems.
Morning, everyone. 2.5 minutes before 7. If you're just joining us here, again, a couple of our top stories. Unionized employees at the General Dynamics plant in Einan have a tentative contract this morning. The company agreed to a new 3-year contract with raises of 3% over each of the next 3 years to stop a strike at the plant, which makes tanks for the U.S. Army. And in the Luzerne County Courthouse this morning, testimony resumes in the murder trial of Edward Chaparro. It was put on hold Friday by attorneys, but testimony picks up today. Chaparro accused of the October 1984 killing of Diane Hemsley in Luzerne County. Here's meteorologist Noreen Clark with more on the forecast.
Thank you, Frank. It's another cool start. 43 degrees right now in the backyard, and we have a spectacular day filled with bright sunshine and an afternoon high of 72 degrees. Enjoy some of the best September weather coming up.
Great weekend. We'll have more on the Weather Watch forecast in our next report at 7:25. Good morning, America, and ABC News next. Have a good day, everyone.